First up is a presentation by a minute of the MNLARS Steering Committee report dated September 11th. Welcome to committee. Please identify yourself for the record and go ahead with your presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Joanna Clybourne. I'm Commissioner of Information Technology Services for the state of Minnesota.
Cassandra O'Hearn, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Public Safety.
So I want to thank the members for the opportunity to provide opening remarks this morning. Before jumping into today's agenda, however, I want to say a few words about the upcoming Real ID launch. The new driver system, which will be live on October 1st, which is this coming Monday. Right now, we have DVS, MN.IT, and Fast Enterprises working together over the last 10 months to implement this new system. We have done everything in our power to ensure this launch is successful. We have conducted statewide demonstrations with the system, held two-day classes, training from Fast and DVS subject matter experts, and held a month-long sandbox training period for all driver's license agents to practice in the new system. We've also conducted twice-weekly conference calls with agents to ensure that we are addressing all concerns and questions. DVS has sent weekly communications to the public over the last month, letting everyone know that they don't need a Real ID yet. And they've also delivered materials to agents across the state to post in their offices for their customers. Driver's license agents will test the transactions with us this weekend in order to affirm that the system is ready to go. Once live, an incredible, robust support network for all driver's license agents will be available. This includes any issue tracking with the system, exam station supervisor support across the state, as well as Fast and DVS employees deployed to the offices in the field who might need extra assistance. New system launches inevitably have hiccups, but I have confidence in all the work that we have done leading up to October 1st and our ability to provide the necessary support to driver's license agents and Minnesotans who need it. I also want to touch on several items today's agenda at a high level, and our staff, of course, are present to dig into the details as needed. As outlined in the most recent quarterly report, we had 2 successful software releases at the end of June and again at the end of July. Among other items, these releases improved office closeout processes for deputy registers, reduced the incidences of pending cart transactions, and provided registrars the ability to process duplicate titles in their offices. Since the 1.13 release at the end of July, deputy registers have successfully processed over 15,870 duplicate titles. We're also looking forward to the releases of 1.14 and 1.15, which will occur between now and February 2019. I know that there has been a lot of frustration with the rate in which these releases have occurred. I would have liked to seen these releases occur at a much sooner pace. Unfortunately, the resources available do not allow for an expedited pace. That said, these 2 releases will deliver on nearly 50% of the stakeholder top priorities, meaning stakeholders had an input about what was important in getting things done. These priorities included changing of class conversions, the ability to attach work tickets to problem transactions, and refund enhancements to entities like auto dealers. We will also be able to deliver the ability to transfer specialty plates in the 1.15 release. Unfortunately, without the adequate resources that we had requested during last session, I had limited options to keep things moving forward. And so rather than doing a full shutdown, we were able to restructure the current schedule of deliverables and payments with Fast Enterprises for the driver's license system. And while we've worked hard to maximize the $9.6 million appropriated for MNLARS in March of this past year, this amount is not sufficient to enable the work to continue through the end of the fiscal year unless some action is taken. We are currently in discussions with Fast Enterprise to change the payments and deliverable structure of their work on phase 2 of the driver's license system after Phase 1 launches in October with the ability to issue those real IDs. Again, this restructure does not affect our rollout of real ID. While not yet complete, those discussions with FAST have been productive, and I am sure that I will inform you once they come to a conclusion. Also, as part of our effort to maximize the value of the March appropriation, we are formally requesting that this committee approve a transfer that would free up $93,000 from the technology cost portion of the riders to use in covering MNLARS contractor costs. I am asking this committee's vote today in concurrence of that transfer. Ms. Joan Redwing can provide additional details on how the actual costs differed from the budgeted costs, but I want to stress the importance of this kind of flexibility as we work to improve the system with the resources that we currently have available. And as we all know, however, these resources will run out, and they will run out before the conclusion of the 2019 legislative session. I cannot predict how the new governor will address the remaining needs for the MNLARS and FAST systems. But what I can tell you is that I will be advocating for an action that avoids a ramp down of the MNLARS contractor team, fully funds Phase 2 work on the driver system, and provides an ongoing source of funding for operations and maintenance. The knowledge lost and the disruption that would occur as a result of a full ramp down would be significant. We've experienced this once before and the delays that resulted in it. I do not hope to repeat that again. It would ultimately add months to the timeline and ultimate completion of the project and the decommissioning of the legacy mainframe system. My understanding is that the OLA accuracy report will be discussed later in the hearing, as I heard, and an opportunity will be provided at that time to respond from the agencies. So I will hold those remarks unless, Mr. Chair, you wish otherwise.
No, that'll be fine. You can wait on that. We'll move on with the agenda. Committee report dated September 11th. Please identify yourself for the record and proceed with your presentation. I would appreciate anything you can do to abbreviate it and give us the most important information and not dwell on things that take too much time.
We will be fast, Mr. Chair. My name is Dana Bailey. I'm from Minute Services.
My name is Dawn Olson. I'm the Driver and Vehicle Services Division Director.
My name is Joan Redwing, and I am the interim CVTO of Minute at DPS.
Thank you. Welcome to committee.
So this is our usual status update for you all. This was what we submitted, a high-level overview of what we submitted on September 11th. It covers updates in the system, progress that has been made since we last met. It reports out on the 7 performance measures that are in statute. We talk a little bit about the budget and the ramp down timeline. And then if we have time at the end, we'd be glad to respond to members' questions. Since, as Commissioner Clybourne mentioned, since the 113 release at the end of July, deputies have successfully printed over 15,000 duplicate title copies. As part of what has now become our standard practice, we did the user acceptance testing protocol and also added 5 additional training sessions to that protocol to ensure that it was clear to deputies across the state how to process those duplicate titles in their offices. 113 also added the expedited title fee in support of deputy registrars processing these expedited titles. 2 releases are scheduled for mid-November and early February. These features and gap functionality and defect fixes, we are very happy to report, covers nearly 50% of the deputy registrar's priorities laid out for us in the reprioritization process. As I mentioned, this includes a mix of both defects, gap resolutions, and new features, including the ability to transfer specialty plates. And I am very happy to report that of the top 12 priorities set out for us by deputy registrars, we will be building in 10 of those priorities in those 2 releases. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Joan Redwing, now to go through the performance measures, the first set of performance measures.
Thank you. Ms. Redwing.
Mr. Chair and members, the performance measures 1 and 2 talks about the gaps and defects that are remaining on the system. And we have a master list process that tracks known gaps and defects identified and prioritized by system stakeholders. We update this regularly from all of the issue intake. And as of September 1st, the list contained 138 items, down from 163 in June on the June 11th report, page 11 of the quarterly report, if everybody's following along. And of these, 46 are gaps, 70 are defects, and 22 are new feature requests. I'm heartened to see that the number of defects has gone down and the number of new features have grown. New feature requests have grown, which is usually an indicator that we are starting to turn the corner and within a few releases be able to focus on new feature requests and workflow optimizations. Level of effort of the items that we're tracking, we've tracking on the page 11 or so graph that we are coming very close to 350 fixes on very stable releases. And the next performance measure, so that's gaps and defects. The next performance measure is 3, which is editing. Performance measure number 3. The June release provided administrative editing tools for deputy registered liaisons as a trial for editing capabilities and gave instructions to deputy registers how to contact liaisons to do editing of transactions. And to date, the liaisons have edited 2,886 transactions using these new tools. We do have release 115, which is coming up in early Feb. We'll have the capability for deputy registrars to submit a data correction ticket within MNLARS. So they won't have to go to another PC, send an email, or something like that. They'll be able to submit a data correction ticket from within MNLARS for the for title applications.
Good
Go ahead, John Olson.
good morning. On the title turnaround, our title work is measured by the number of days required to turn around a title application. Our goal of the MNLARS system and internally is that we would achieve less than 30 days for title applications. As of August, the title turnaround has improved significantly since the report that was last issued. To date, now out-of-state title transfers are at 29 days. Minnesota title transfers are at 14 days, and new car titles are at also 14 days. We continue to work with the continuous improvement experts at the Department of Administration. They are our partner to work with us to help look for ways to improve our process for the long term.
Great. Performance measure number 5, data errors. The motor vehicle transaction errors are fixed as they're identified by and promoted to our data corrections team. And those data issues are reported by deputy registers, DPS, and the public. We also run a series of sweep programs to clean up data errors on a nightly basis. And to date, we've got about 0.25% of motor vehicle records have required some sort of data correction. And given additional funding, we have future plans in our roadmap that includes additional self-service editing capability for liaisons and deputy registrar to clean up any data errors. And this would continue to reduce errors in the system, especially for data entry errors. Performance measure number 6 is system performance. MNLARS vehicle and legacy systems have returned to 99% uptime. Approximately, we have 4 systems that we monitor under the umbrella of MNLARS at this point. One is DVS permits. The other one is e-support. The other one is still have some applications on legacy mainframe, and then we've got the new MNLARS system. So all 4 of those applications constitute what we are measuring. and we have limited the number of people that we have working on performance tuning, but we have stable performance between 112 and 113, and we continue to improve our monitoring and continue to evaluate system performance from release to ensure that we have no degradation.
This performance measure number 7 is customer service. Compared to the last report, the number of calls being accepted into the call center has increased. In January through March, we reported that 24.5% of the calls were accepted. In March through May, we reported 27.5% of accepted calls. And in this last quarter, we can report that 46% of calls have been accepted. The number of calls that are coming through and are being answered are directly related to the additional 26 temporary staff that we have hired. We also monitor emails, public emails that are coming in. During this quarter, we had more than 21,000 emails that were received, with 1,900 total unprocessed emails at the end of the quarter. Our turnaround time has improved since the June 11th report, and backlogs were eliminated on June 22nd, and turnaround time was within 10 business days at the end of the quarter. As well as we do with the title application process, we continue to work with continuous improvement experts at the Department of Administration to continue to look for ways to improve our process.
For our budget and ramp down timeline, we, at the end of session, having received the 9.6, we needed to take a look at what we would be able to do with the money that we had. And so we, after finishing the reprioritization process with the deputy registrars and other stakeholders, we mapped out a plan to build those last 2 releases in, providing them with as much relief as possible, in order to obtain enough money left over for a lights on scenario plus, where the system will be maintained, there will be an occasional defect fix, but no additional features will be able to be built into the system. And our approach and timing of any future funding requests, of course, will be determined later this year once the incoming governor has had a chance to have conversations with the commissioners of DPS and MN.IT. Be glad to respond to questions, chairs, and members.
Thank you. I do not see any questions at this time.